Call the meeting to order, roll call.
Commissioner Barton,
Present.
Commissioner Phelps. Present. Commissioner Funes,
Present.
Attorney Lamanna,
Present, Batali.
Oh, I like you.
Lieutenant Everett.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. All right, let's move right along. We don't have any minutes for this particular meeting at this time. So we have some one-day licenses. Knights of Pythias? For a fundraiser on June 22nd. Another one-day license for St. George Greek Church for their 3-day annual Grecian Festival. We have a one-day license for Beyond Walls for 8 different dates. Beyond Walls is a non-profit.
Yep.
Okay.
Excuse me, Madam Chairman, we got 2 new ones today.
Okay. Okay, and then we also have one day for Uncommon Feast for Saturday, June 29th, and that is a restaurant, so that's not a nonprofit. And then also another one day for the Yacht Club for the Blessing of the Fleet for Sunday, June 30th. So what is your pleasure regarding the
Madam Chairman,
the one-day
may I ask
licenses?
one question on the dates for
Yes.
the Beyond Walls. They said 8 one day, but
Yes.
we don't have the,
Yes, there's 8, I have 8 one-day applications. Beyond Wall, the first one is for July 13th. The second one is for Monday, July 22nd. The third one is for Thursday, July 25th. The fourth one is for Saturday, July 27th. The fifth one is for Sunday, July 28th. The sixth one is for Thursday, August 1st. The seventh one is for Saturday, August 3rd. And the last one is for Saturday, September 28th. It just planned in advance. We submitted 8 separate, that's all.
I don't know if we have the.
Okay.
This one.
Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
The Saturday, August 3rd event for Beyond Walls calls for 1,500 people possibly.
What? Okay, let's look at that.
I just would make sure that's accurate,
Okay.
and I would inquire as to if there's any specific plans.
For detail?
security.
So this is why it's good to do it in advance. August 3rd, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I see. So, let's take out the Saturday, August 3rd.
Even the one on August 1st is 750 people. No, it's less than 50.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, that looks like a 7 to me.
yeah.
Doesn't
All right, so let's approve the 7 and hold on to the Saturday, August 3rd, and ask them to provide us with more information regarding security.
Okay.
Okay. So could we get a motion?
I make a motion that we do approve the 7 days and
Okay.
hold one on the Saturday 3rd.
Okay. And on the others?
And on the others as well. And
That we will
suspend
approve
the
them?
fees,
Okay,
yes.
good. Yep. Suspend the fees for the nonprofits.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pretty good. Okay, and then we have common victular and entertainment license for Subway at 44 State Street. I believe a new owner, the manager. Hi. Come on up. How you doing? Good, good. You're pretty much keeping everything the same, correct?
Yes.
Same hours? Saturday, Sunday, yeah? Okay, and you are asking for an entertainment license for the
Yes, they currently have it too.
Yep, okay. Very good. Anybody have any questions?
I don't.
Okay, I'm good. All right, we just need a motion to accept.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good luck. Okay, and we have a one-day common victual and entertainment license for Uncommon Feast. Anyone here from Uncommon Feast? All right, then we'll have to put it on hold. Hold, and let's hold that one-day license as well. We approved a one-day license for them, thinking they were gonna be here. Okay, so let's put that on hold as well. All right, and then we do have our hearing. Okay, one, I just take this out of order, if I may, with this correspondence that I just received regarding Conga Lounge. Okay, they
I attached to the letter requesting and informing the commission that they waived their right of appeal, the letter that the commission had sent to them. I think the letter's dated like May 31, but they didn't receive it till like, I think, early in June. But by the time they received it, the dates that were in the letter had passed. And so the first decision that they arrived at was that they did not want to appeal. The second was that even though they appreciated the consideration that the commission gave them to hold certain days in abeyance, they felt that they would serve the entire 7-day suspension. And then they suggested certain dates that they felt would fall into the line of what the commission had in mind.
right, okay. So I myself, I don't have any problems with them serving 7 days as opposed to holding 3 days in abeyance.
No, I have no problem with
No
that.
problem.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then, if this is agreeable, then they'll turn in their license, okay, and we're looking for Friday, June 28th through Thursday, July 4th. That'll be the 7 days. And they can reopen again on Friday, July 5th.
I'll inform them and they'll make an arrangement to turn it in with Debbie or at the, is the hall open on the, so they can pick it up on the 5th, July the 5th? Okay.
So, want to make
Yeah,
a
motion to approve.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So you have the dates?
I think I do.
Okay. Okay. All right, good.
I know
Here,
the
Deb, you want to
question
take
they
this?
asked me is how they get it back once they turn it in. I didn't know whether they were closed because of the
Right. Okay. All right, so now we have a hearing for Trios Mexican Grill. Okay, Ms. Garcia? Good afternoon. Okay, well, you know what's going on at your establishment, and it truly has become a safety issue here for the city. I have a letter here. I don't know if you received a copy of the letter. Okay, from the police chief. I mean, that's a lot of visits to your establishment.
Well, in response to the letter, there's been a meeting with the hierarchy at the police department. I don't know who originated the letter, but if it was the chief or the deputy chief, but I can tell you there was a meeting with one of those. And then there was a meeting with the lieutenant. But in fairness, in terms of the number, the police call these things like the dump list. It's, and I gave Nielsen the example, I may have used it with the board in the past, that I used to represent the 7-Eleven at 264 Essex Street. There were hundreds of calls because they were the only place open at 3 a.m. And people would say, where are you? And so if you look at the report, there's like 12 alarms going off, okay? Well, the alarm's going off at the dentist upstairs at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's absolutely unrelated to the operation of the Trios. So there's about 12 or 13 of those. And then there's like motor vehicle accidents, and there's no question that we didn't even go through each and every one, because we took the ones that we took on its face, the 17 they say they referred to you. We went through those, and we went through them with two things in mind. One was, could we discern a pattern? By that I meant, we looked at times of these events, but there was no regular pattern. It wasn't like always at closing time. And then we looked to see if we could discern a pattern as to the day of the week. It was like always a Sunday night. And there was, again, there's no discernible pattern. So that doesn't reduce the number, but it would be helpful if we could have learned something from that. But the thing that we do know, and we want to bring to, and I'm certain the board is aware, this is the lot behind Trios is a municipal parking lot. It's the city of Lynn's parking lot. And apparently it's patrol, at least, are regulated 24/7 because there are people who park. It doesn't end at 6 p.m. I think they use it as normally on the nights of concerts or events, but there are 4 or 5 establishments, R.J. Sullivan's, Rossetti's, the place on the corner, the Mexican place on the corner of Central. People park, for my other clients, the Cliffs, people park. It's a municipal lot. It's open to anybody who wants to use the city-owned lot to park, and it's within an area where people can walk to Mama Blanca's and many establishments. So the use of the lot is not exclusively by Trios, but it doesn't excuse them for some responsibility, because they do have a back doorway that people use, and this is another thing we examine, that people use to either enter or leave. And we actually considered how to control that better, and so we added a security guard, so there could be 2 outside. And then Trios regularly ask for police details, especially on the weekend nights, but they can't always get police details. But the practice is to have them when they're available on the weekend nights. In terms of the building, they don't own the building, much like when I was here before, but they are willing to change the camera angles because 2 or 3 of these reports involve things that happen at the back in that lot. The things that they can control, the times that they have people leave, and I suggested, and I think the police did as well, that one way to deal with that is to end the music, bring up the lights, and don't wait till last call. For 2 reasons. It encourages people to throw one down before they leave, and the other is everybody leaves at the same time. So they've made, since the meetings with the police, an attempt to phase and bring up the lights earlier, shut down the music, and the one thing that Nielsen has explained to me is that shutting down the music pretty much works. People, when the music stops, leaves. The biggest problem, not only with this establishment, but with most establishments, is that when people leave, they don't leave. They go out and talk to their friends in the parking lot, or if they got grievances, they take them up again. There's this congregating that occurs, not only at this establishment, but at others, generally after closing hours. And, but in a couple of these events that occurred, and I'm doing them sort of chronologically. The first one is that the head of security is the proactive agent who not only observes but involves and assists the police. This was a shooting at the rear that was observed by the head of security. And then the last incident also involved activity at the rear of the parking lot. And this was, no good deed goes unpunished. They wouldn't let people in. Okay, they closed the doors so they wouldn't either face overcrowding or unruliness. And as a result, there were 2 or 3 people that the police extended more than one opportunity to leave, and they just wouldn't leave. And they ultimately led to the arrest of those individuals. And then the one that we found most troubling was, because it's difficult to really know what happened, is an individual, according to the report, flags a cab down on Market Street. And apparently it's concerning enough that when the cab driver leaves the area, comes around the corner and is going down Washington just before the police station, he flags down a car coming the other way, a police car. And it says he escorts out of the cab this individual who's got a bloody nose and needs medical attention. And this individual makes an allegation, which the police do investigate. They go back, they spoke with Nielsen, They spoke with the security people, and if this person, by the way, who threatened the police with a bullet, was so intelligible that they couldn't understand what he was saying or doing, couldn't complete the booking process, found cocaine on him, well, he makes a statement, and we're unclear whether he says he was inside or outside, but he says he was assaulted. But when the police investigate, they don't find any corroborating evidence on that one. But all of these are serious, all of these are concerning, and really the dilemma that they face and some of the other establishments face, and the police, and I would suggest to you that the Off-Street Parking Commission, okay, and the city of Lynn face, because this is a parking lot security issue of a municipal parking lot. And ultimately, if God forbid there's an untoward incident, somebody's going to hold everybody accountable that they can find, starting with the city of Lynn, because it's a municipal lot, not a private lot. So what we've talked about is an experiment I dealt with on 24-hour openings, where I'm going to be late at night tonight with the city council, where we had a problem with all in a row fast food establishments outside, essentially a gated Pine Grove Cemetery. And so everybody did one of these as to who was responsible for the litter. So finally, one of my clients stepped up and took on the responsibility of like a collaborative effort that they all patrol and police their lots, and they all share in the expense. And they did this for a few years, and they were very unhappy because they thought that the real culprits was, again, not them, but some other were contributing. But at least it made a dent in, and it enabled these places to subsequently be reauthorized each year to have so-called 24-hour open. So one of the things I suggested to Nielsen, once you name some of these other places, is that perhaps we ought to go talk, and she volunteered that she'd be willing, as an expense of the establishment, if it was a matter of compensating one of those people that work for the off-street parking to work. I don't know what their hours of shifts are. I mean, I just told her, I pull into that lot at like 6 a.m. and there are cars parked there. And I don't know whether they were there overnight. I know that I see the so-called meter maids or the parking personnel at various times do patrol there. I don't know whether they do it on weekends. I don't know whether they do it after hours. But if they do, or if they need financial assistance given the city's, difficulty, she volunteered that she would be willing to absorb some of that expense for certain hours that would add a presence, not necessarily the police, but the ultimate responsibility for that parking lot, I believe, is the Off-Street Parking Commission's, because it's a municipal lot. So any added presence, we've added a security individual, we're going to hire a police detail, but at some point, there's got to be some shared responsibility for that lot, because lots of people use it and benefit from it, just not trios. What we can do inside, if you look at these reports and if you look at the list, how many of these incidents that ultimately came before you involved activity inside the club? Generally, it's outside, and I learned, I can't remember, from Sergeant Carroll, I think, is the one who taught me the concept of curtilage, about that you just don't end with the moat around the castle. You got a responsibility out there. So Nielsen understands that and has taken some steps. We got a couple of others that I think are relatively drastic, and because they would involve trying to change people's normal habits. Well, I used to, but I've gotten better. I used to park as close as I could to the door at the mall, okay? For other reasons, I now park as far away and walk, but that's okay. But most people park as close as they can, all right? And most people want to be able to exit and get to their cars. But we have a front entrance and a back entrance. But we have an obligation to keep those open because of, fire and concerns. But we're thinking about experimenting with, if you leave at a certain time, you can only exit one way. In other words, the door is there, but we'll post security so that if you leave before a certain hour, you have to go out that door. And if you leave after a certain hour, you have to go out that door. We're trying to respond to the suggestion that some of the police had made about not visiting all of the people with all of the problems at the same time. But there's no question that it's like an attractive nuisance, that lot. But it's not just solely the responsibility of Nielsen. As far as Trios, as I say, they've undertaken the steps that they believe can make a difference, but it's going to take a more concerted effort by more people than just Trios.
If I may, I also believe I indicated that I'm working with IT. I'm installing 10 cameras inside, 10 more cameras additional inside the place, but I'm also trying to put one facing the parking lot. Just because we don't have, once you leave the alleyway, we have no way to determine what's going on outside, so I'm doing that.
There's a
Besides-
camera posted now at the top,
Well,
right?
I have 2 cameras, but it only goes as far as at the end of the alleyway. It doesn't go beyond the alleyway. So I'm trying to see if I can put a camera at the end, which it faces I'm not sure if I'm violating any type of, because I know it's a city parking lot. I'm not sure if I'm in the right to do that, but just pretty much for more protection to see whatever happens, we can record it now.
I mean, you've always come before this board and you've been very cooperative, but unfortunately, we're to the point where some of your clientele that has been attracted to your establishment is creating havoc here in the city. And some of our officers are being hurt just by trying to maintain control of patrons of your establishment. We can't have that.
Yeah, so may I for a second with my attorney, please? Directly how the person was working before with attracting some of the clientele is no longer
Well, we can take certain steps if we had repeat offenders as far as barring them or identifying them. I would say to you that there was a proactive step taken with an individual that we identified, okay? And we brought that to the police's attention, okay? We still need to do something more, but
I agree, definitely more.
yeah, and that's why we tried to discern whether there was a pattern, or we asked whether people, you follow me, a lot of places have regular people, customers who come in all the time, and the staff gets to know them. And so what we examine when we see the names that are on the reports is whether we go around and we ask, does anybody know this person? Do they live in this area? Again, we're trying to establish where they're coming from and why they're there. Believe it or not, music has a lot to do with why people attend some of these places. And so that's something within the control of the establishment, the kind of music they play, the kind of entertainment they have, and what days of the week they do it on. And so those are all steps that can be taken. But at the end of the day, the parking lot security is a concern that's so great that, as I say, we wanted to suggest that we'd pay our portion if we could get other establishments to cooperate. But we're in a situation we don't know what the city does routinely to police that parking lot. Whether they have staff on at 11 o'clock at night, I don't know. I mean, but certainly a presence, even in one of those little white vans that they drive around in, and having somebody drive through periodically. And I do think that the parking people patrol the city. I see them out at night tagging cars that are parked like on sidewalks or whatever. But if it's a cost item to the parking commission, at least Trios is prepared to pay a share, and then to seek if we could get the cooperation of R.J. Sullivan, Dick Sullivan, and Bob Rossetti and those folks to contribute as well, because there are patrons who park in that lot.
But they're not having the problems that are happening at Trios. I mean, let's leave the other establishments out of this, because, trust me, they're not having the same problems that you have been having. Unfortunately, there's a clientele that is attracted to your establishment, and they're causing problems, and this has got to stop. I mean, again, I'll state it for the record, you have been most cooperative, but I think it's beyond your capabilities at this point in time to control the element that's going into your establishment. And I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I think we should revoke your license at this time. I'm definitely against that at this moment. But I do feel that your hours do need to be rolled back. I mean, people are coming to your establishment looking for the entertainment, and it's usually late at night when this has happened.
Well, if you look at the police reports that are there, one is at a quarter of 12. I mean, there is no such pattern. If you look at those 3 reports, they were before closing or well after closing.
And that's what I'm saying, they're
1:05,
trying to,
1:00,
yeah,
11:45.
they're trying to come in later at night.
Well, after I met with the lieutenant, something else that I put in place is, after 11:45, I close the doors. That way, I don't have anybody else coming in from other establishments, because that's what happened. I mean, I figure if you come to a place after 11:30, you were drinking elsewhere. So that's why I took the step to start closing the doors earlier. That way, I don't have those clients coming in and creating any issues out there. Something else that I'm installing is a scanner for IDs. That way when you come in, they can scan your ID, and anything we need to identify anybody, we know exactly who were inside there, and we can identify the person.
Mary?
Yes,
Lieutenant, do we have any records of any other complaints on the other establishment, such as that will amount to something like that? The amount of
If you're asking about the other businesses, licensed establishments around Trios and around the municipal lot, I don't have specifics, but I can say, as the chairwoman said, these are not arbitrary reports. They do have some association with Trios. Having said that, I recognize if there are reports here that are in the stack that was brought forth, that somebody was walking by. They were refused to come in because they're intoxicated, and appropriate steps were taken. And I did have a productive meeting with Nielsen this week. She laid out a bunch of changes she's made. She laid out some very valid concerns. Our concerns that came from the police deputy chief and our chief, from our management, were that this cumulatively is a bit much, right? And we don't want it to continue if it's out of hand. She made assurances that there's been some changes internally there, that she gives her some hope that she has more control. I think the reason we're here is because of maybe lack of appearance anyways, or lack of control and management. And that's what we can't have, right? So we could go through every one of them we have. Each time we brought something, the council stood here, maybe we had some clarifying words together to bring the point to you as clear as we could get it. But there have been a lot of disproportionate amount of incidents, and they are related. Some have been dealt with, but there's still reports that are brought to the board. So again, it's for you to decide. We've gotten good communications with and cooperation with Nielsen, but it is here, and the officers in the last couple incidents have been down and fighting with people. Yeah, I mean, we've had this in other places.
and it's just a matter of time till someone gets hurt. I mean, be it one of your employees, or be it just the general public. Someone's going to get hurt. Could be the police officers.
And that's why I took step forward when it comes, and I believe I spoke with the lieutenant of management. That's why I made the changes that I made, very drastic changes. And for me to have the control that I need, and they have the right personnel that I need to do that, and that's why I make that change, the drastic change, but I also taken a lot of steps not to, that way we don't attract that clientele. And that's why, since I made those changes, we haven't had, they said because we're in place. And like I said, we don't let anybody out. I start closing the door at certain hours, that way I don't have that clientele coming in from other places after they leave. I increase the number of security people, that way they can go to the parking lot and they're not hanging around outside talking or being a nuisance to the city. And I have one up front, not just the back, but also front, because people park in the front on Market Street.
Okay, again, I appreciate your efforts, but I firmly believe that your hours should be rolled back. Just because of the clientele that is used to going into your establishment. And I think they need to see that they're not welcomed. And I propose, I feel your hours should be rolled back to 9 PM.
Well, that'll put the place out of
Out of
business.
business.
I mean, you've closed it.
I'm one. I mean, I'm one. I feel the hours should be rolled back
Well,
to
but
9 PM.
realistically,
Because
you know-
you're a restaurant as well as a nightclub.
For the most part, our clientele does come at night, they eat and they stay for a drink. But if you put it at 9 o'clock, literally might as well just, I'm just gonna have to close the business.
People will go where they can be served, they'll go to other establishments, ultimately what will happen is you'll move the problem either down the street or somewhere else. But people who are gonna be out after 9 o'clock are gonna go somewhere that's open, and that puts them at a competitive disadvantage.
Well, hopefully they'll behave. I mean, because obviously there's a problem. There is a problem. They're attracted to your place.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, I changed the management, and I believe I spoke with the lieutenant, and he's aware, and I show him legal documents, all the steps that I had taken to have that control and not attract that clientele, not have that type of client coming in, because it's not the same, the behavior is not gonna be tolerance in the place. And that's why I'm closing the doors early, that way I don't have that clientele that come in to cause problems. So I think I have taken the steps that will prevent this type of issue for going forward.
The last incident at your establishment, your doors were closed. You would not allow people in, and it caused problems because they are attracted to your establishment.
I believe it was like 10:45, 10:30, they were coming from elsewhere, and that's what I'm saying.
That's why I proposed 9 o'clock rollback.
Yeah, but that's sort of like the Yogi Berra suggestion that it's so busy there, people don't go there anymore. Well, the fact is that people.
revisit this.
Well, it seems to me, even though I don't believe there's a discernible pattern that says these events occur at closing time, and because of the stated willingness to close the door at 11:35.
No way am I saying it's happening at closing time. I am saying that it is happening later at night, after 9 o'clock.
Well, I'm suggesting that if that's where the board is inclined to do that, if you don't want to close this business, then midnight is a closing because she told you she's closing the doors at 11:35 anyway, okay? But I think you're going to find that people who are out are going to go from establishment to establishment. That's one of the stated reasons she said she closes the doors, because you don't want people that have been somewhere else to come in, and this is one of the reasons the city ultimately rolled back hours in relationship to other communities, because people would shoot over to get a last drink or whatever, okay? But at the same time, people the vast majority of the people who go there are law-abiding, buying food as well as beverage, and they come from all parts of this city, from all segments, and most of them behave, okay? The lieutenant acknowledged that some of them who couldn't get in didn't behave, and so acting responsibly and keeping people out results in a penalty that says, okay, keep them out sooner or more. I mean, it's not a formula to stay in business.
I understand that, but unfortunately, her not letting people into the establishment is causing problems outside of the establishment.
But they could have gone through across the street after it and caused the same problem.
Right, and if exactly, they could, but the bottom line is that were coming from your establishment. They're trying to get into your establishment. This is the clientele that unfortunately has been attracted to your establishment.
We can't judge all the clientele that goes into my establishment, because
No, I'm only going by reports here.
because 3 people that were coming, I don't know from where, first of all, their behavior, because the security guard would say,
Lieutenant, we are not talking about one particular incident here, are we?
We are not.
No, I didn't think we were. I just wanted to clarify
A
that.
letter from the deputy chief cites, as Sam noted, 76 incidents that were just tagged for trios, may or may not, and I recognize some alarms, some may have been outside, some, but the other 17 were written reports. And we don't have each one of them to go over, but each one of them has come before
Right,
this board.
right. And our main concern is the public safety aspect of it, and someone's gonna get, yes, yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's just a matter of time until someone is hurt.
That's why increasing the security, that's why I have the police officers, matter of fact, that night, I had a police detail officer, I was like, I understand that they're not gonna protect everything what's going on, but what I'm saying is like, they were not the only 3 people, there were other people trying to come in. We didn't want to let them in, and the security guys says, especially, first of all, don't let you in because the doors are closed. But if you be around like that, we're not gonna allow people like that to come in either. Those are some of those people, they just go to see where they can go in. And we thought that we were doing the right thing by not letting them come in because their behavior and because we're not letting anybody else in.
I mean, the police inquired about whether the establishment wanted these people in, and when they were told no, these people were given an opportunity by the police to leave. They still wouldn't leave. That's when they got arrested for trespass, I think. So that gives you an idea of the...
And that's when our police officers end up on the ground tussling with these clients that are attracted to your estate.
But they were never patrons. They never got inside.
But they tried, and they're coming there for a reason. They're
Any place for a reason. They go out because they want to go out. They go out to different places. They go out to all different bars around the city. And I thought by doing the right thing, not letting them in because of the behavior or because two things. People were coming out, but doesn't mean I'm going to let people in, especially if you're someone who come from I don't know from where, behaving like that. So I thought I was doing the right thing.
Right, and trust me, you were doing the right thing, but unfortunately, again, it's a public safety issue here. And ultimately, you cannot control the people that are coming to your establishment. That's the bottom line. And someone is going to be hurt. And we cannot, in good conscience, sit here and allow that to happen.
I'm the first one that doesn't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody, and that's why, like I said,
we said there's a shared responsibility, and I think in fairness, if you believe that, which I may not agree with you on, then I think it's, and you want to be fair about it, then you pick a time like midnight, okay? And if that doesn't work, then you can pick 11 o'clock. But there haven't been since...
No, midnight's too late. Midnight's too
10
late.
o'clock would be, I think you're really on the verge to revoke your license.
Right.
You're lucky we're not gonna, not lucky, but you're fortunate that we're not going that route. But I think that,
Well, but in effect you have, because no establishment that's in a competitive environment with other clubs can stay open if in fact people will then go somewhere else. That's the reality. They'll go where they can. And that's why I'm saying.
This is, let's get one thing straight. This is not the first establishment in the city of Lynn that has had their hours rolled back, okay? And those establishments are still operating today, okay? Because we revisit. They make changes, and they go back to their regular hours. And as long as there's no problems, they're home free.
A real test is not 9 o'clock, because I can assure you, you can roll the hours back to 9 o'clock, we can come back in a month and say, look, there hasn't been a problem. That doesn't mean it's been solved, okay?
Well, it better be solved, because understand this, if there are more problems, then we'll definitely be talking about revocation.
To a real problem. And I think part of that involves parking lot security is the responsibility of the city of Lynn and the municipal law.
And I'm going to say it again. This is not a parking lot security problem. This is her establishment's problem because they have attracted unsavory characters to your establishment for some reason. So we have to do something to make your place not as attractive to them at this point in time. Because again, it is a safety issue. Okay, you're saying 9 o'clock is too early? I don't know. What's your feeling?
In the past, we have done it to 11 o'clock, based on the critical condition of the situation, but I did read most of the reports, and some of the reports are very dangerous, especially to police. I don't know, I'll suggest 11 o'clock.
I mean, we're definitely looking at a rollback. I mean,
Yeah, we're
I'm
definitely
being,
looking at a rollback.
okay,
Yeah.
I can be flexible too, but, I mean, I don't know, you had suggested 10, you suggested 11, I said 9,
9.
so we're in,
And we admitted that we're closing the doors. Believe me, if I were giving advice, I wouldn't tell her to come up here and say you're closing the doors at 11:35, because, but that's something that she told you, okay? So I understand, I mean, it isn't we didn't recognize that that's a way to regulate. And we've got a couple of others, which involve, if we can, closing off one of those two, at least for exit at a certain point in time, because that would put people out one door and not the other. And so that's another, but we've got to deal with the responsibility to have the means of egress satisfy the fire department.
I could live with 10:30.
I can live at 10:30. I think that, you know, you have established a pattern here, Sam, I'm sorry, but 1 o'clock, 11:45 is a pattern. You also established a second pattern by going back to 2015, that you've had quite a few incidents on Debbie's report that she provided us. So you do have a pattern here, and I think there's a serious situation here that warrants a definite rollback. And, you know, we appreciate you making your security changes, and I think that this will give you time to put them in place and see how it works out. But I have to agree with the chairperson.
So I say roll your hours back to 10:30, and we will revisit this again in 6 months, providing there are no more problems at your establishment. But I do have to be honest with you, if there are problems, you will be looking at revocation. And, you know, I hate to see it happen, because again, I will state for the record, you've always been very cooperative here, but it's a public safety issue. Your establishment has truly become a safety issue here. So, I don't know, somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, motion to roll back the hours to 10:30 for 6 months, and we can look at it at that time. Barring there's no further incidences.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right, and then, common fees? Okay. New owner.
You wanna?
New owner. Yeah.
It's a new place.
Okay, new place, all right. Oh, I know, it got me confused. You put in for a one-day license already. Okay, so we did approve it, but then we held it, yep, because you were late. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so, entertainment, what are you gonna have?
At this point, just occasional.
Television, radio, TV, okay. And not normally, you don't normally plan on serving alcohol?
No, we may be applying for a license at some point in the future, but not yet.
Okay. And this one-day license again is for,
June 29th,
June 29th, and what's that for?
we're hosting a live performance of 2 musicians.
So you will have live music, okay?
Did I not check that?
No, you have television, radio, CD player. So you want live?
Yes. Not, it won't ever be rock concerts, but occasional, right? This is a 2-person.
You are in a residential area, so, okay. More like folk type? Okay, no acoustics? Okay. That'll be the next letter. Okay, good. All right, so we just need a motion to accept if people,
Motion to accept.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, good luck, yeah.
Okay, there are 3 incidents. The first is at 108 Western Avenue. It's that the old Rise there, Western Avenue Market. There were some agents from the ABCC, or investigators that were out there watching the business. I think this is a fairly regular occurrence. I don't think there's anything exceptional.
Where is this?
This is 108 Western Avenue.
What's that?
Western Avenue Market.
Oh,
The report, they saw some people pulling back and they were underage kids and they were drinking in the vehicle. The ABCC investigators are taking charges against the minors and they're handling it. They gave us the information so that we're aware of it. They believe the minors were 17 and 19, 17 and 18.
Wow.
They believe they were going to go in the store and buy alcohol. That's the extent of it, because they did not go in the store.
they didn't.
No, they took the ABCC investigators, handled the incident, notified us.
Okay.
We helped them, they did their own thing.
All right.
So there is really nothing.
Nothing,
about the business
right, yeah.
except that these people came to that business.
Right.
Again. I haven't had any.
We haven't received the paperwork on it yet, right?
I'm sorry?
We haven't received the paperwork on it yet.
No,
I
I
didn't
don't
get
know
that.
that we will
Oh.
necessarily. I don't.
From the ABCC?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, they weren't arrested or anything.
Okay.
The minors in possession, I assume that's the charge. And they got the parents and they brought them to the parents.
Okay.
So to what extent they're not going to have, I don't think, any issue with business.
Okay, then. Guess we just accept it for the files. Okay.
Okay, the second incident is at the Lido Cafe. It was dated June 12th. There was a domestic, mother and daughter domestic, one of the parties was arrested. I don't believe I have very much information. They were in that parking and the officers encountered them. Not much in here about the business. Just general and brief, as I can read.
Did they call?
Sorry?
Did
The
the
officers
lead?
arrested one of the parties involved.
Okay. Did the Lido call?
Actually, the report indicates that the call came from the person that was a victim, identified as a victim in this.
And the victim was the daughter,
No,
his mother?
The mother? Wow. But it didn't happen in the Lido, correct?
When the officers arrived, they encountered the 2 people outside. I don't believe there's anything in here. There's no interview with the bar staff, there's no interview with the owner. There's nothing in here that specifies exactly where it took place.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's another one we just accept for the files, I guess. Okay.
Well, it does say they were in the bar drinking, but it doesn't say when the assault
Took place.
I gotta look it up.
Okay. I mean, we can have them come in just so that they can say they didn't, nothing happened inside our, I mean, really, it's gonna happen, but, yeah, let me bring them in for just a conference, yeah.
Yeah, okay, the last one is, this one, it was a little disturbing when I read it because it reminded me of what we used to get at this same location. This is 15 Union Street, this is Detail. It's a restaurant, really small, if you remember the occupancy permit, I think it's like 15 or 20, very small. The officers got a call there, let's see, they had gone by and saw that there were a large crowd, then they got a call, they were in the area, they got a call for a fight inside. When they got there, it was a large crowd, numerous other units arrived at the same time. When they got to the door, they could see the security person inside the door. It appeared to be the bouncer or doorman just inside the door. He looked just, the officers say, he looked right at the officers but did nothing. Refused to open the door, denied access. He walked away from the door from the officer's report. And it wasn't until a patron came over and opened the door. The officers got inside, there wasn't a fight, but they found at least 60 people inside that small area and another 30 out back. Certainly an overcrowding incident that should be dealt with that. And then,
Absolutely.
that anyone should hold a liquor license and have that kind of behavior towards
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
police.
Absolutely. We're on your side, absolutely.
Because we haven't had this.
No, I know,
problem
right.
Since this place.
Same place, but different owners and, right.
Well,
Okay, so definitely hearing,
yep.
and that's so outrageous. I feel like we should have a special meeting, because otherwise we're looking at the third week in July, and they should be shut
I
down.
mean, I wouldn't want them to be operating with
Absolutely.
that type of
Abs-
management and control.
Absolutely.
As far as a safety issue.
Absolutely, I agree. How do you feel? How do you feel?
Another date?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah.
So we'll get them in here as soon as we can get the notice out to them and we can all meet.
Well, we gotta give them at least 2 weeks. Well, not if I make it.
Dangerous here, that's dangerous.
After the 4th of July, then.
Okay.
We can't shut them down before we have a hearing, correct? Okay. That's a
We will
shame.
back allowance next Tuesday in advance of the 4th of July holiday, if the board feels that that's appropriate.
I most
Yeah,
definitely think
who's
it's
in
appropriate.
control of the establishment, with, maybe I could look into it a little more and interview some people, including the officers with their stuff, but it didn't appear that anyone with a real interest in understanding.
What are their hours now?
Okay. I'll check there and I'll check there.
What time did this incident happen?
This incident was received 23:18, so it was like 11:30.
11 at night? Okay. So technically, we could roll back their hours to daylight, 8, because they can open 8, right?
Yep.
8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep.
So can we how do we notify them? Could we have a police officer bring them a notice?
That's a very dangerous hearing, that would be temporary for a longer term solution as far as what the board wants to do long term.
So
Would you?
I can take care of it tomorrow or
Okay.
Wednesday or whatever you get the notice. As long as whoever's there, and this has been the problem, they don't know who the owner is, and this, you know what I mean, this is typical that it'll be somebody
Yeah,
working
that-
there.
yeah.
And I go there in the afternoon, and that's gonna be noticed as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you want an immediate rollback?
immediate rollback, right. You okay with that? You okay with
Yes, I
that?
am. Hours will be 8 a.m.
To 6 p.m.?
to 6 p.m.
Mhm. Until we have the dangerousness hearing?
Okay, so I need to pick a date, find a date for the hearing.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna check that.
Okay, we'll shut them down quick.
And I'll be the first meeting.
Okay. Any other business, anybody? Adjournment? Always in order.